Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and iOS 17 Beta 1 is now out to developers, and the public beta will be out in July according to Apple. This particular update brings new features, changes, and more, and I thought we'd talk about all of the features we've found so far. Now the first thing is the supported devices. If you have an iPhone 8, 8 Plus, or iPhone 10, it's no longer supported. You'll still get iOS 16 updates, but Apple is not bringing iOS 17 to those devices, unfortunately. So as many of us thought, it won't be supported. Now, as far as the overall size, this came in at 2.9 gigabytes. This is fairly small when you're going to a major update like this. Typically, they're around 5 to 6 gigabytes. And it's available on iPhone SE, 10R, and later, SE 2nd Gen. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the build number and talk about what's new. So we'll go to Settings, then we'll go to General, then About, and as you can see, the build number is 21A5248V. This particular update is quite buggy, so this is not something I would probably put on your main device, but also if you're wanting to run the beta and maybe you're on iOS 16.6 betas, just go back and you'll have the option for the developer beta. You'll also have the iOS 16.6 betas if you haven't updated to it yet. Now this update does have some new features, and let's first take a look at wallpapers. Now, one thing you may have already noticed is the wallpaper changes from light to dark mode. Apple has actually brought that back with this update. Under the wallpaper, there's a bunch of new changes. The first one has to do with the astronomy wallpaper. If we go into that and we swipe through, we can now switch through different planets, Jupiter, Saturn, and more. So let's cancel that. And if we scroll down, you'll see there's some new kaleidoscope wallpapers. So those are a new option to choose as well. And if we scroll down further, we have some new Unity wallpapers. Of course, you have Pride, Collections, and Color. And under Collections, we have the new iOS 17 wallpaper. And if we go here, tap the three dots in the bottom right, we can switch between automatic, light, and then also dark mode. So they've brought that back like I showed you before, and also they've added the ability to customize the font size on a more granular level. So we can really customize this how we want. If we want it super thin like iOS 7 or just super bold, we can have it whatever way we'd like. And then of course you have your different colors and more. We don't have a ton of different widgets. There's not a lot of changes here, but we do have our standard widgets that we've had before. And speaking of widgets, let's go back to the main screen here. That's the next update. With widgets, they're now interactive. You can see on the second page that I have here, we have the music widget, which allows us to play music. Let me turn this down, press play, and it will play music, and it's in the dynamic island. We can also control home, so you'll see it failed, and it is buggy, like I said. But we also have the option to control different home devices and more, and that's great that they've added that. This can be customized from different app developers as well to add their very own. So this works in things such as podcasts and more. We can finally have fully customizable and interactive widgets. Now there's an all-new standby mode that allows you to use your phone when it's on the charger at night and placed in landscape. First, let's go and check out some of the options, and as we scroll down, you'll see that we have some standby options. Now, this is not just limited to iPhone 14 Pro Max, but is also on older phones as well. So if we go into Settings, we'll go up here, you'll see that we have standby. The only difference has to do with the always-on display. Then there's some options for night mode and motion to wake. So this carries across to older devices as well. And in order for this to work, like I said, it needs to be horizontal and on a charger. I have a dock here. Let's go ahead and try this out. And in very dark light, you can see here it's charging and it has red text. So it switches to red. If I turn the lights back on, it will actually switch to a lighter mode. And then we can switch through different widgets. So we can go through maybe the weather, we can go through our events, or maybe some reminders. That's been updated. The same is true on this side where you could go through, I guess, stocks, your clock, your calendar. If we swipe to the right, we have different photos and also another option for the screen here. And so you can see this version, we can swipe up and we have a bunch of different ones as well that we can switch through. We can also go directly to our music. So that's sort of a home hub mode that's on iPhone. Additionally, live activities will show in standby mode as well. Now there's a lot of updates to messages and the keyboard. So we'll go into messages and you can see right after the voice message I received, it has the text of what's contained within that message. This is a new feature in iOS 17. Also, if we switch to light mode here and we use voice dictation, voice dictation looks a little bit different now. So it highlights the last word that you're speaking, and it's actually been improved with suggested information if you're typing. So if you're saying, I am going to the Apple store, it can suggest that I would like to get a MacBook. And it can actually complete that, and you may have seen that as I was typing. You can hit space and it will auto-complete the sentence that it's actually suggesting. So they've made some improvements here as far as that goes. If I send this, we can go on the other device. We'll go directly over to it. And you can see here in iOS 17, if I swipe on the message, I can just reply here. So I can reply quickly with just swiping, and then I'll send it. And of course, it shows back up on my iPhone 14 Pro Max. So that's a nice update. Just quick reply by swiping on it. It's just a really fast way to do that. And it is a little bit buggy, just like everything else seems to be in iOS 17. They've also updated autocorrect so that it's easier to go back to maybe what you've typed that you didn't want it to change, and it should be more accurate. So if I type, I am going to the Apple store, and you'll see I mistyped it, and it underlines what I mistyped. So if I tap on where it says Apple, it shows what I typed last as a lowercase apple. Tap it again, it switches, or we could just have our suggestions and switch back. So that's a nice way to sort of see autocorrect better, and it gives more updated information. Also, we have all of our apps moved to the left. So if we tap on this, we can quickly share our location directly from here. That's a fast way to do that. We also have photos, stickers, cache, and all of these other things here as well with all our different apps. So you can see all of those. And if I go into stickers, stickers is a big part of iOS 17. Now let me switch back to dark mode here, and you can see all of the different stickers. Now with these different stickers, they've added a bunch of different emoji stickers, and then you can create stickers as well. So if we go in here, go to stickers again, and maybe go to this one, we can create a new sticker. Now this is very buggy and doesn't seem to work properly all of the time, but if I want to try and create a sticker out of this one, it typically will just hang. However, we should be able to create a sticker out of anything that we pull out of a photo. So I haven't been able to get this to work just yet, but it should work not only in messages, but also in mail and more. Also under our stickers, if we go over to Memoji here, they've added a few new faces. So they've added a halo, a smirk, and peekaboo. So let's see if we can find any of those. I'm not sure we see any of them, but those are the new ones. There's the halo, peekaboo, and a smirk. So they're toward the top. Those are new in Memoji. If we go back to our plus button here on the left for our apps, go to more, we have a new option to check in. You'll see it has a little splash screen that says, let your friend know you've arrived with check-in. So you can let someone that's a friend or family know, and it will keep information as far as your progress toward your destination. So it says if you aren't making progress toward your destination, you'll be prompted and have 15 minutes to respond. And that will allow them to actually know where you are, what's going on, see the overall status of your battery, and more. So you can limit this, give full access, and again, you'll see here, they'll know when you arrive or delayed. So there's the check-in option, and you can share that with friends. Additionally, they've improved search within messages. Within search, there's new filters to help you better locate information or maybe photos you're looking for. So maybe you'd say red apple instead of apple, and it would help you better find that information. Additionally, all of us deal with two-factor authentication these days, and it's really nice that Apple autofills that information in messages. So maybe you're logging into a Safari website and it autofills from messages. It will now autofill from mail as well. And they've also added a new option to help us clean those up after we've received those verifications. So if we go into settings, and then we go to passwords. Under password options, there's now a cleanup automatically option. It says automatically delete verification codes in messages and mail after inserting with autofill. So you'll no longer actually have to clean those up yourself. It will just get rid of them on its own. So that's a great feature they've added. Also to go along with verification, if you're signing into your Apple ID and maybe you have an iPad or another iPhone nearby with the same iCloud account, it can automatically autofill from that account from the other device, just like a Wi-Fi password can. So if you're trying to log in maybe to iCloud and it needs you to verify or you don't know the password, you can just share it that way. Additionally, you can now share passwords or create password groups to share with other people. So if you have a set of passwords you use regularly, maybe for TV Plus or something like that, you can create a password group with it. If we press the plus within passwords, we now have the option to create a shared group. We can share passwords and passkeys safely and securely with your family. So that should really make things easier if you're sharing passwords. Also going along with passwords and messages is communication safety. That includes protection from sensitive photos and videos across Messages, Photo Picker, FaceTime, and more. This is something we've had for a while, and it's under Screen Time. So if you go to Screen Time, and under Screen Time, you can now enable communication safety for yourself, not just children. So we can tap on this, and you'll see we have the option to check for sensitive photos. It's disabled by default. You can enable it if you'd like. You also have the option to blur sensitive photos and videos before you choose to view them. So this feature will be available in Messages, AirDrop, Contact Posters in the phone app, FaceTime Messages, and third-party apps. And speaking of contact posters, that's something new within the phone app. If we go into phone, you can now create a contact poster with your own photo or anything you'd like. So you can actually use this version where it's just your initials. You can use a photo or just have emoji, or just have something completely different and create it like the lock screen. So when a phone call comes in from someone you recognize, it will have this sort of nice poster to go along with it. And also to go along with this, if we go ahead and I'll place a call to myself. Now I'm calling myself from a different phone. You can see the new contact poster. And if I let it go into voicemail, there's a new feature there as well. So we'll give it a moment to finish here and go right into voicemail. And you'll see it switch to voicemail. And now in just a moment, it should actually transcribe what I'm saying on the other phone directly to the iPhone with this new feature. So you'll see here, it's showing what I'm saying on the Pixel here, transcribing it on the iPhone in real time to help me decide if I want to pick up the phone call or maybe just message the person or just sort of hang up and disregard it and swipe it out of the way. So that's a new feature within the phone app. Now to go along with phone is FaceTime. They've made some updates to FaceTime. So if I call myself with FaceTime, and you'll see I'm calling myself with FaceTime, and if I don't pick up, there's a new feature here as well. And you'll see here I can record a video or call again. And it's counting down. And let's try this out. This is the new message feature in iOS 17 where I can leave a voice message or a visual message for you if a FaceTime call isn't picked up or received. So this is what it looks like. We'll hit stop, and then it should send to that person. We can save it or retake. And there we go. Now, additionally in FaceTime, Apple showed off new gestures to trigger reactions. So maybe you're in a group call, you give a thumbs up, it will actually have fireworks in the background like you do on the messaging app. So that's just something that can happen in the background of FaceTime. And also FaceTime is now available on tvOS 17 with continuity camera. So those features are updated for FaceTime. Not a huge update, but a couple nice little changes. Now music gets an update, but it's fairly small. The first thing is if we go into the music app, you can see it looks a little bit different here. So the overall design is slightly different. It's more full screen when you're in an album. And then it's sort of a separate menu bar at the bottom. If I switch to light mode here, you can see that a little bit better. It's just a separate button at the bottom. So nothing huge as far as the overall look of it. And if we go to browse or library, it's still very much text-based with recently added. And then if we go to listen now, it doesn't really look too much different. However, there is a feature a lot of people have wanted for a very long time. If we go into settings and then we go down to music, let's find music here. Under music, you'll see we have an option for crossfade. Now this seems to crash the app every time you enable it. So it crashes settings and you can't use it. So if I go back in and then we go down to music, that's health, let's go back into music. It crashes now. So I can't go back into there. That's a bug. And again, that's part of running an early iOS beta. Another feature they're bringing later is collaboration on playlists. So you'll be able to invite friends to join your playlist, and then everyone can add, reorder, and remove songs. They can use emoji to react to the song choices in Now Playing as well. So that's a feature that we should have later on. I believe it's coming later. You'll see here, share song, share play, but that's something where you can share a playlist as well. So maybe we'll utilize that on this channel a little bit later. iOS 17 updates AirDrop by allowing you to bring two phones together, and then you can use AirDrop to share a contact or your files. So as you bring them closer together, it should give you the option. Now, maybe this knows that the contacts are already shared for each device, but either way, you should be able to do that. And the overall dialogue of sharing looks a little bit different. So if we go into AirDrop, you'll see it says appear as Aaron Zolo, and it's not showing up. It seems to be a little bit buggy, just like everything else here. But if we go to AirDrop, there we go, it showed up. We'll send it to myself, and it should send over here, and it looks a little different where I can accept it or decline it, and then it comes in like normal. Now, if you're actually using AirDrop and sending a large file and you need to actually leave so you don't really have time for it to finish sending, it will actually send over the internet end-to-end encrypted so that you'll still receive that file. So that's something new they've added in AirDrop. You can also initiate SharePlay in the future by bringing the devices closer together also. So maybe you're watching something on TV Plus, you bring it close to your friend's iPhone, you can start SharePlaying those together. Now, many of you were asking, has Apple updated the control center? And they really haven't, other than this icon here for AirPlay. And so everything pretty much looks the same as far as that goes. There is no control center update. Apple has updated Siri though. Siri can now be initiated just by saying the word Siri. And it's not working. Let's go ahead and go into settings. There's some options for this. If we go to Siri and search, you'll see it says listen for Siri or Siri with the word hey in front of it. So we can change this and Siri. Siri, what's the weather today?
Thunderstorms are expected today. Daytime temperatures will hover around 76 degrees, with overnight lows around 50 degrees.
So you'll see it does work, and you can disable that if you don't want to use that. With iOS 17, a new journal app is coming as many predicted. If we go into Safari, you can see here it says coming later this year, but it's a new app to write and remember, an all new way to appreciate life's moments and preserve your memories. It actually uses your phone's information and gives you on-device suggestions. So it says using on-device machine learning, your iPhone creates personalized suggestions of moments for you to remember and write about based on your photos, music, workouts, and more. So that's something that's coming later on. Of course, you don't have to use it. You could disable it for privacy reasons, but it's all on device and will be something later this year. Last year, similar to Freeform, Apple released the journaling or released Freeform, and they'll probably release the journaling app the same way. So we can expect that probably with iOS 17.1 or something like that. Apple's also updated the Health app. So if we go into Health, give it a moment here to load, it looks a little bit different. And as we scroll down, it's less sort of compact overall. And if we go into Browse, there should be some new updates. And we may not see everything here, but if we go into mental well-being, we have the option to actually put in our state of mind and get started and keep track of how you're feeling. So you'll see here how you're feeling right now, how you felt overall today. We'll hit next, and then we can choose how you're feeling right now. Very unpleasant all the way to very pleasant. So we'll say slightly pleasant. We'll hit next. And what best describes this feeling? So amused, brave, calm, content. So maybe excited, joyful, content. We'll hit next, and slightly pleasant. What's having the biggest impact on you? Probably current events. We'll hit done. And would you like reminders to log this? And so we can turn it on for reminders, and then it will keep track of it. And we can see this day to day and keep track of it once a day or so if we want to do that. There's also new features for vision as well to help you with that. So you'll see, let's see if they have a little splash screen here for it. I don't see it. We'll go into summary. And there's new vision updates, and what they do specifically is help you keep your eye health in check. So it can actually use your watch or your phone to monitor sort of the light brightness outside and know if you're outside or not. So if we go into settings, and then we go to screen time, you'll see we also have an option for screen distance, and it says reduce eye strain. So we'll go into that, and you'll see it says screen distance to help reduce eye strain and the risk of myopia in children. Screen distance will alert you when you hold an iPhone or iPad with Face ID too close for an extended period of time. We'll hit continue, and then it says how it works. It wants you to keep it at least 12 inches away from your eyes. The screen reminds you to hold your device further away, and there's a position guide as well. So you can turn this on or turn it off. It's up to you, but it will work on all your devices, and it's part of the new health update. Safari gets some updates as well, and one in particular is pretty helpful. If we go into settings, go down to Safari, under Safari, if we scroll down, you'll see we have profiles. Now I've created a work profile and a home profile, and we can customize this with different things such as extensions, settings, and more. And these are per profile. So your extensions can be on your work profile, but not on your home profile. So you can change this however you'd like. Now, if we go into Safari and we tap the little menu bar at the bottom, we can switch between the profile we're using. So if we say work, it has a new start page, and everything we do here will be customized to work with that little folder in the background. If we go back out and maybe switch to home, you'll see the same thing here. There's a little home profile. So that's pretty simple and straightforward. We now have that within Safari, and it's specific to our profile. So if we want to go in a profile and say no profile, it goes back to what we had before. They've also improved search, so it's much faster, and actually loading web pages in general seems to be much faster. So you'll see it loaded very quickly to the Apple homepage. Of course, it was probably pre-cached there as well. And also, when you're using private browsing and then maybe you switch to another window, so maybe you're in private and you switch to a new window, you'll see here it says locked private browsing. This is a new feature within Safari where it now locks when you're not using it and shuts off all trackers and everything else in the background to stop anything from actually going through. So we'll hit continue, and you can unlock it if you'd like. Sort of a locked version of Safari, and then you can go in and take a look at it. So you can lock this just like you can with your history and more in Photos, as far as maybe you deleted one and that's locked now. Maps gets an update as well, and while it's not a huge update, it's very helpful in that it allows you to have offline maps now. So you'll see it says search for places and get driving, biking, walking, and transit directions without an internet connection. So maybe you travel through mountains where there's pretty spotty internet. This can now save specific areas. So we'll hit continue, and you'll see I'm in the general Charlotte area. Let me download this in general. It says it's going to take 332.8 megabytes. So let's see if we can maybe download even larger area. So it doesn't need the internet, 1.59 gigabytes. We'll hit download, and then it should download the offline maps. There's also better EV tracking for charging station information that's been enhanced for real-time usage along your route. So maybe you have a Tesla or something else using CCS chargers. It should help you auto-route that and give you real-time status as those chargers provide more information. Now I have a CarPlay device here. Let's go ahead and plug it in. We'll give it a moment to load. Give it a second here. You'll see in the upper right, we have a SharePlay icon. We can now SharePlay with people within our car, and they can contribute to the music we're listening to. Now, if you have kids, this probably sounds like a terrible idea, as you don't want them controlling all the music. Or maybe you do, but either way, you can share that with others. AirPlay is getting an update as well. If we go into our music here and we go to AirPlay, it will actually now learn over time. For example, if you're cooking in the kitchen regularly and there's a HomePod nearby, it can ask if you'd like to share to the HomePod around the same time every day. Additionally, it's coming later to hotel rooms, where AirPlay will be available in supported hotels that support it, and you just scan a QR code on the room TV and then securely share your video, photos, and music, and it even sets up Wi-Fi for you to keep everything secure. So that will be available later in hotels. Spotlight search has been updated, so maybe you're searching for an app. Eventually, this will show information on the side here if there's additional options, meaning that you could see the different shortcuts within the app for things such as playlists and more. This may not be available just yet, but should be in the future. It also has some nicer graphics that are brighter and more. A few weeks ago, Apple showed off new accessibility features, things such as assistive access, live speech and personal voice, and magnifier. And if we go into settings, and then we go down to accessibility, scroll down a little bit here, you can see that we have personal voice. If we go into this, we can actually create a personal voice. So I need to create this. Go into it, and it says continue recording. I started this already, and it wants you to check the sound quality of your environment, and then you speak a few phrases. So I'll go ahead and hit record. I'm creating a personal voice with my iPhone. It stops and it says you're ready to go. Background noise, current sound levels are ideal for recording. I'll hit continue, and then I have to do this for about 15 minutes. So I'll set this up and we'll see what it sounds like. I finished recording my voice. It took about 15 minutes, and this is private to the device, and it takes a long time to do. And you'll see it says preparing your personal voice. Plug in your iPhone. iPhone will generate your personal voice only when the device is charging, and then you'll receive a notification when it's ready to use. So it says that it's done, and hopefully I'll have that available a little bit later. So it says charge iPhone to generate voice. So we'll share that, and let me plug it in and see how long it may take to do. Now I actually plugged this in for a little bit, and it seems like it's going to take a long time to generate that voice. So maybe we'll come back and look at that later. You also have the option to delete it or export your voice recordings. Now, another thing that's been updated with accessibility is the magnifier. So if we go into the magnifier, we'll go here, we should be able to better identify objects. So let's go into the options here. And we'll go into settings. And of course we have different things here, activities, default, and then we have detection modes. So we have a lot of different detection modes. Let's see if it can actually understand all of the different images and see what we've got here. So we'll make sure everything's turned on. Text dictation will recognize live text in the camera view and much more. So point and speak is one of the new features. So we can point, and let's see what we've got. So we'll go into this, we'll go back, hit done, go back, and let's see what we've got here. So we'll go over to identify different things under detection mode with point and speak and text detection, door detection, image descriptions, and let's see if it recognizes maybe an iPhone. So we've got point and speak, and it says hand detected. Let's see what it sees here. See if it understands text. And you'll see where I'm pointing, it's sort of locking up as I'm doing this. So it's recognizing certain information. Let's see what we've got. Let's see if it understands this. So we'll point at the clock. It's very buggy, but it should be able to actually detect what you're pointing at in the future, and the phone's getting quite warm. So right now it looks like those modes aren't working 100%, but they should in the future. We also have assistive access, and under assistive access, if we actually turn this on, we can set it up. So you'll see under assistive access, it says assistive access provides an alternative iOS experience. Essential apps have been redesigned to be larger, share the same look, and have fewer features. Select apps and customize options for the person using assistive access. So I'll hit continue, and then we have appearance as rows or grids. So let's go ahead and hit continue, and then we can choose apps. So we'll just, I guess, choose all of them. Camera, music, and we'll hit continue. And then it says things to know. Triple click the side button to access emergency calling, software updates, and assistive access to review and begin software updates. So we'll hit continue, and then hit continue, continue again, and we have a bunch of different things. So it says confirm Aaron knows this iPhone's passcode. Hit continue, and we'll set this passcode. We'll just do 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I've set everything up. Let's go ahead and enter assistive access. We'll put in the passcode, and it says entering assistive access. So let's go ahead and see if we can get into this, and then hopefully we can get back out of it. And this is assistive access. So we've got large icons. We've got our calls, messages, music, and camera. If we go into music, there's nothing there, although I did add something. If we go into camera, and it seems it's working, but a little bit buggy and slow. I can take a photo, go back into music, and you'll see I got a new notification. Then if we go to the lock screen, this is what it looks like. It uses Face ID, and we can just press open, and then we're back in. If we want to exit, press the power sleep wake button 3 times, and we put in our assistive access passcode. And then it should exit assistive access. So it's really nice if you just need larger icons, that's available in iOS 17. And then it actually rebooted my phone. It crashed and rebooted. So again, it's buggy and seems like something you shouldn't use on your main device. Not yet anyway. And now there's some updates to photos as well. So if we go into photos, within your photos, it doesn't really look much different. However, it better detects people in the people album now, and it also includes cat and dog recognition as well. If we go into something with visual lookup, within a photo, here's a photo I took. We tap this little button here. We see it as a landmark, of course. And if we press and hold on it, let's get out of this view. We press and hold. We can actually now look it up. So if we tap on it, we can tap look up, and it will give us information that way. So we can take a photo right away and look up the information about it. Visual lookup now works in video as well. So let's see if I have a video file here. So here's a video I made some time ago. You'll see that's an old iPhone. If I pause it, we should be able to use visual lookup within the video itself. So we can copy, add a sticker, or share, and we should be able to look up different information if it recognizes different objects. So there's more information that will be in this in the future. Maybe you're at a landmark, maybe you're in New York City or somewhere else. You should be able to recognize those landmarks within video as well. Now, Home has a small update. Within Home, there's activity history. It will let you see who unlocked a door, for example. If we press on this one, go to accessory settings, and then we go down to status and notifications, we can actually see activity notifications and get information as to when people unlock or lock the door and see that in a history as well. It works for garage doors, contact sensors, and security systems that are HomeKit compatible. Within Find My, if we have maybe an AirTag, we can now share this with up to 5 family members. So you'll see share this AirTag, add a person. So you can now share an AirTag or other devices that allow you to track location. So network accessories. So Apple says up to 5 people, you just add them, they accept, and then they can share. Within Reminders, there's a small update, and you can see here it looks a little bit different. So the main update is grocery lists will automatically sort items into categories to make shopping easier. And then they're grouped and you can change that. However, when you're within your own lists, you can not just sort manually, you can sort everything else, but you can also change it to view as a list. If we go back, you can view it in columns. So it's a small update, but it's an update some people may appreciate. Within Notes, they've made some updates as well, specifically to things with PDFs. And you'll see as we go into Notes, it says add links, link to other notes to connect ideas. You have new text formatting, and then open in Pages. We'll hit continue. You'll see here's a sample from Adobe, and it should be able to recognize that information. So if we go in, we should be able to edit different locations within this PDF, and it should recognize what you're actually doing with context. And of course, you can mark this up as well and put in your signature. Within Fitness, they've updated the Sharing tab. Within Sharing, there's more information here where it gives detailed information about your workout. Additionally, if we go into Fitness Plus, if you have that, there's now custom plans, and those custom plans now work with meditation as well. So if you want to build a custom plan day by day with all the different workout types, you can do that. Within the News app, they've updated it. So within News Plus, if maybe you're subscribed to a magazine that has crossword puzzles, you can actually dig into those and use them there. You can also listen to your audio that's here, your audio news updates, within the Podcast app now. And within Podcasts, not only have they added News Plus audio, but they've also updated the Listen Now section, changed a few visuals here, and you'll see, of course, everything you normally listen to. If we go into Library, it looks pretty much the same. But as far as Listen Now, that's been updated here, as well as CarPlay also. Freeform has also been updated. So if you use Freeform, and this goes across the iPad as well, within Freeform, if we go into the pen or markup tool, you'll see we have a ruler here, of course, and then also we have some different pens. So we have one with pen width, we also have a calligraphy pen, a highlighter, and more. So that's been brought into Freeform. Now there's some AirPods updates as well. Now you may need the AirPods beta for this actually to work. If we bring in AirPods Pro 2, give it a second to connect, there we go. You'll see it's now in dark mode. If I switch the phone over to light mode, it will change as well. Switch back, it switches back to dark mode. So that's something that's been updated. Also, there's a new beta for the AirPods that you may need in order to enable some new features. And those new features have to do with something called adaptive audio, where it dynamically blends transparency and active noise cancellation to tailor the noise control experience around you as you move. And it also understands that when you walk up to someone in real life and you start talking to them, it recognizes that and then pulls down the audio level so you can talk to them. You'll also have the option to use the buttons on the side to mute your voice during a phone call. Maybe you're in a noisy environment, and it will also limit the noise to the person you're talking to. There's also better device switching as well that's being brought to AirPods. So these in the past have worked okay. It should work much better. But again, there's a beta for AirPods. You may need that for all of those features. So just like we had personalized spatial audio, we'll now have that adaptive audio. There's some privacy updates as well. And one of those has to do when you're sharing photos from within an app to another app. And I actually already got a message about this where it says Twitter has been able to access your entire photo library for 6 months. Do you want to continue to allow full access? And you'll see it shows how many photos and videos. You can limit access or allow full access. It recognizes that, and there's better overall privacy when it comes to sharing with different apps. Also, the same is true when you're adding an event from a calendar. Maybe from another app, you're adding that event. It will actually hide all of the other information from that app. Only you will be able to see it and add it to your calendar. Additionally, lockdown mode has been updated. At the bottom of privacy, we have lockdown mode, and they've just updated it to be enhanced and also include Apple Watch. So those are the different privacy enhancements to iOS 17. And so that's everything in iOS 17. Now, there may be a few different changes here and there that I missed, and of course I'll be covering those in future videos as I find out the additional updates. So be sure to check back later this week for the regular follow-up where I talk about more features and just how it's running overall. However, if you're wondering if you should install it, do not install this on your main device. It's super buggy and I highly recommend against it. You'll see I'm already down to 35% battery. So if you have a secondary device you want to try it on, definitely you could do that, or wait for the public beta, which comes out in July. I would not expect performance to be any better. Although things do feel fluid and fast, I wouldn't expect anything to be really different yet as it's not optimized. Make sure you report your feedback though in the feedback app if you're having issues. And of course, if there's anything else you find, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. I'll try and link this wallpaper in the description. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.